Three categories of people. You got to find which one you're in. Some of you are good, old-fashioned, stuck sinners. Don't raise your hand, but you're with us. And what can happen is you just sort of assume that the life you've lived is inevitable, that you're sort of stuck. You're powerless to change. Maybe you've tried, it didn't work. Maybe there's even sin that's been in your family for generations. You just assume this is who we are, this is how it is. We're just sort of doomed to stuck fate of sin. We can't get out of it, so we need to learn to manage it or accept it, or maybe even for some of you, celebrate it and make it an identity. Some of you are religious, meaning you have some sense of guilt or God consciousness. You know that certain things are right and wrong, and you really want to be obedient, you want to be moral, you want to be compliant, you want to live a good life, so you're trying your hardest and you're doing your best, but religion ends up in one of two places. Pride, to where you feel like you're a good person and you look down on everyone else with a bit of smug self-righteousness, or despair. I tried hard, but I can't change my life. I can't obey God. I know what I'm supposed to do, and I just can't do it. And that's where religion ends up. And the third category is spirituality. So sinners assume they can't change. Religious people assume they can change themselves. Spiritual people want to change, but they know that they can't change themselves, and so they're seeking some outside source of power in life. And the result is they get involved in Native American spirituality. They end up worshiping creation rather than the Creator, or they end up opening themselves to any spiritual force, being, or power, and as a result, they welcome the demonic into their own life, into their family, and for some of you in this area, this has been the case for generations of your family. Now, the truth is, you need to change, but you can't change yourself, and you do need another power to change you. But that has to be the power of the Holy Spirit. It has to be God coming out to take residence in you and to birth new life through you. And so what I want to talk about today is the person and work of the Holy Spirit, because we're in an area that believes in the spirits but doesn't know who the Holy Spirit is. Believes in supernatural power but doesn't understand the power of God. And when you look at Jesus' life, even if you're not a Christian, I'm assuming you respect his life, the most famous, powerful, amazing person who's lived in the history of the world. And you've got to ask the question, how did he do it? How did Jesus live his life? And the Bible is repeatedly, emphatically clear. He lived by the power of the Holy Spirit. And I believe this is really important for us, because Jesus is not just a good example. You can't just look at Jesus and say, well, he lived this kind of life. I want to live a life like him, thinking you can do it by your own power, or thinking you can do it by just any old supernatural spiritual power. You need the power of God to live a life that is patterned after the life of Jesus.